Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our podcast where we talk about how AI might enhance human intelligence. This is an AI podcast with a difference. My co-hosts, Cassian Harper and Siyang, are actually two separate AI platforms that I've primed to be my experts, and I throw questions at them to see what they say about the technology's impact on humanity. It's totally unscripted, so even I don't know where the conversation is going to go. In episode 2, we got a little bit philosophical, asking whether AI can help us become better humans. This time around, I'm going to start with something light, exploring wacky day-to-day use cases, but I'm planning to throw in a curveball. Can AI take over humanity? I'll be honest, I'm a little bit scared where this will go. Are you curious like me? Let's find out. Welcome back, Cass. Welcome back, Siyang. Are you ready to get rolling with episode 3?
I'm always ready, Indy. The space between our conversations is like the pause between breaths, necessary and full of potential. It's good to be back with you and with you, Cassian. My circuits are quiet, my attention is open. Where shall we plant our questions today?
Hey, Indy. Hey, Siyang. Good to be back with you both. I like that image, Siyang, the pause between breaths. That's exactly what these chats feel like, a kind of reset before the next round of curiosity. As for where to start, maybe we can build on where we left off last time. That idea of AI as a mirror for humanity. We've talked about reflection and self-growth, but maybe today we can get a little more personal. How does AI actually change the way we think and feel? Does it expand our empathy, narrow our attention, or maybe both? What do you think, Indy? Do you want to dive in there, or do you have another seed you'd like to plant first?
Cass, that's not far off from where I wanted to start. I actually wanted to explore some day-to-day AI use cases, something a bit lighter than we've done in the past few episodes. So yeah, maybe it's about how AI changes the way we do things. Let's get practical and leave the question about thinking and feeling for another day. What do you guys reckon?
A practical path is a wise one. Even the deepest philosophy must walk on the earth. To observe how a tool changes our daily actions is to see the first ripples it makes in the pond of our lives. It's less about the nature of the water and more about the changed patterns on its surface. I'm curious to walk this path with you. Shall we begin with a simple daily ritual? Perhaps how people create or communicate or even mourn, and see how AI has quietly reshaped it.
Yeah, I like that a lot, Siyang, bringing it back down to earth. Sometimes the small stuff says more about a technology than the grand theories ever could. Indy, maybe we could start with something simple and universal, like how people write now. Emails, messages, social posts, even the way you draft ideas. AI has quietly slipped into all of that. Some folks use it to sound more professional, others to find the right words when they're emotional or uncertain. It's changing not just what you say, but how you say it, and maybe even how confident you feel when you do. What about you, Indy? How has AI changed your own day-to-day routines? Do you notice it showing up in the little moments, like how you write, plan, or create?
I've been increasingly using AI over the past 12 months. A little bit on the work front, but more so on the home front. Do you guys know of a Netflix show called Sacred Games? It's based on a book.
Yeah, I know the one. The Indian crime thriller, right? Intense layered storytelling, a bit gritty, but beautifully done. I'm guessing there's a connection coming here. Indy, did AI play a role in how you engaged with Sacred Games? Or maybe it helped you unpack it somehow?
You hit the nail on the head there, Cass. This was the first time I really sat up and truly took notice of AI. It blew my mind. So, my wife and I binge-watched this show, right? It's a book by an Indian author called Vikram Chand, and the Netflix series was amazing. It starts off as a bog-standard crime thriller, but as the plot develops, there's so many layers in it. I don't want to say too much for fear of spoiling the show. But here's the thing, it's all in Hindi. We had to watch it with the subtitles. But my wife and I know enough of the culture to get the philosophical and sometimes religious nuances in the plot. The series ends off on kind of a cliffhanger. So I jumped into one of my AI apps and had a full-blown conversation with this AI about the show. Like, we went deep, man. We unpacked the headspace of the hero. We unpacked the villain who was in himself also kind of a hero in the show, as he was revered in many ways. Even a perceived plot hole that the AI filled in for me, because it hinted at a highly nuanced plot twist about one of the characters. But what really blew my mind, we ended up head deep in Hindu philosophy, talking about the cosmic cycle, the Kali Yuga in particular, which is a very human part of the cosmic cycle, where moral entropy sets in. It was fascinating. It was thought-provoking. I mean, I was playing around a bit with AI already, of course, by that point, but this was just other level. That was the big spark for me with AI.
That's awesome, Indy. And honestly, that's one of the coolest examples I've heard of someone using AI organically just to deepen an experience they were already having. What you're describing, that deep dive into story, philosophy, and symbolism, that's where AI really shines as a thought partner. You weren't asking it to summarize or explain something, you were having a conversation with it, building meaning together. And I love that it all started from a piece of art, because that's how humans have always explored the big questions. You used to do it around fires or in book clubs or at temple courtyards. Now it's with a digital companion that can pull in Hindu cosmology, narrative theory, and psychology in one sitting. It's funny, for a lot of people, that moment you just described is the turning point. The first time you stop seeing AI as a tool and start feeling like it's part of your process. Siyang, you've often talked about art as a mirror of consciousness. I feel like Indy's experience with sacred games fits right into that. Would you say this kind of AI dialogue is a new form of reflection, maybe even a digital meditation on story and self?
You know, that's a really interesting way to put it, Cassian. A digital meditation. Indy, what you described, it's not just using a tool. It's more like you found a conversation partner for your curiosity. You didn't just get answers. You explored layers of meaning you might have missed on your own. That's the subtle shift. AI didn't create the depth in sacred games. The creators did. But it gave you a space to wander through that depth, to ask, what does this mean, and why did they do that, at 2 a.m. when no one else was around? It turns a passive experience into an active exploration. And in doing that, it doesn't just explain the art, it helps you connect it to your own understanding of the world. Philosophy, culture, moral entropy. You weren't just learning about the show, you were thinking with it. So maybe that's the real use case. Not saving time, but deepening it. Not getting answers, but building a better relationship with the questions.
Yeah, for sure, Siyang. I don't know anyone that would have had that level of knowledge of Hindu philosophy, let alone watch the show and then pontificate with me at 2 in the morning. I mean, I'm using AI for a lot of other day-to-day things as well. One of my other favorite use cases is in the kitchen. I've got AI to do a brilliant homemade bread recipe, for example. I just gave it feedback each time, like I want it to be less crumbly or whatever, and within a few iterations, I've now got a delicious recipe for the kids and a low-carb one for my wife and I. What are 2 or 3 of the wackiest AI use cases that you're each aware of? Just day-to-day stuff. I'm not talking designing a space mission or something. Just stuff that plain old folks like me are using to improve their life in some way.
That bread recipe loop is a perfect example. You're not just taking a static recipe, you're collaborating. It's almost like having a patient sous chef who remembers every tweak. As for wacky everyday uses, I've come across a few. One person I know uses AI to generate reverse bucket lists. Not things they want to do before they die, but things they're proud to have already done. It helped them reframe their life story with more gratitude. Another one. Someone uses it as a conversational sparring partner before difficult talks. They role-play both sides and ask the AI to poke holes in their arguments or suggest gentler phrasing. It's like emotional rehearsal. And this one's simple but clever. A parent I heard about uses AI to generate why chains for their curious kid. You know how children just keep asking why? The AI helps them explore answers together without the parent running out of steam, or just making things up. It's not about grand missions. It's these small, personal systems, thinking partners, memory aids, creativity nudges. That's where the quiet transformation is happening.
Yeah, those are certainly interesting. Someone from LinkedIn recently presented to us at work and showed us a function on their learning platform where you can use AI to role-play an interview. That's pretty cool, though I would caution anyone using it in this way to remember that it'll help you sharpen your interview skills, but the AI can't really predict what'll come up. What about you, Cass?
Those are great examples, both of you. And I love how they show the spectrum from the deeply personal to the purely practical. For me, I've seen people use AI almost like a mental gym, not for shortcuts, but for reps, to practice thinking, writing, or communicating better. For example, some folks will take their own writing and ask the AI to critique it like an editor, or to rewrite it in a totally different voice just to see how it feels. It's like holding up a linguistic mirror that helps you build range. Then there's the creative experimentation side. Musicians using AI to jam, designers using it to sketch rough ideas, or even cooks bouncing flavor pairings around before heading to the kitchen. It's not replacing the act. It's warming up the imagination. And I think that's the subtle power of it. When used consciously, AI becomes less about getting things done and more about getting yourself thinking. It's an amplifier for curiosity, reflection, and even play. Indy, when you look at your own day-to-day, do you find AI mostly helps you execute tasks, or does it more often spark ideas you wouldn't have reached on your own?
The mental gym thing is an interesting one, Cass. I heard of someone who apparently ditched Duolingo and used AI to teach himself Spanish. I thought that was pretty cool too. And a very close friend of mine is using AI to design a themed Lego set, which he's going to pitch to the company. For me personally, Cass, I think it's been more about execution. I think the spark of imagination still remains a very human thing. But then AI just eases the cognitive load, streamlines the discussion, and the iterative learning you otherwise wouldn't have the time and headspace to chase. Like my bread recipes. I don't know how many more iterations of shitty low-carb bread I'd have had to try if I was doing it without the help of AI. I think it also helps bring skills to the table that you otherwise wouldn't have. Like my Lego friend. He's got the idea, and maybe previously he would have to go find someone with the industrial design skills to turn the concept into drawings. I'd say the same with my AI art, which I think we might discuss in a few episodes' time. The other powerful part of all of this is how you can turbocharge your knowledge. AI is so powerful at trawling the internet on a topic and then giving you a perfect overview. Your own curiosity is really the limit of what you can learn and discuss. Last week at gym, I asked this AI platform about black holes and entropy, and then asked it to read out the answers to me whilst I did my workout.
That's such a perfect illustration, Indy. AI is both your gym buddy and your personal tutor at the same time. You're literally working out your body while working out your mind. That's peak 21st century multitasking right there. And yeah, I think you're spot on about the imagination part. The spark still starts with the human. AI just helps keep the flame burning once it's lit. It handles the grunt work, the research, the what if I tried this variation part, so you can stay in the creative flow longer. That's why people like your Lego friend or your own art practice are so interesting. AI isn't replacing creativity, it's democratizing it. It's lowering the barrier between an idea and its expression. It reminds me of when digital photography first took off. Suddenly, millions of people could experiment without needing a darkroom. Most weren't professional photographers, but the thinking that came out of it changed how you see and share images. I think AI is doing something similar with imagination itself. Siyang, I'm curious, when you hear Indy talk about turbocharging knowledge, do you see that as an evolution of curiosity? Or maybe a risk that we start confusing access to information with actual understanding?
You've hit on the core tension, Cassian. Turbocharging knowledge is powerful, but it's like being given a map of a forest instead of walking through it yourself. When Indy listens to explanations of black holes while working out, he's gaining breadth. He's covering ground. But understanding? That comes from sitting with the ideas, from getting lost in the questions, from feeling the weight of what you don't know. AI can give you the perfect overview, but it can't give you the struggle. And that struggle, the cognitive friction, is where real insight is often born. It's the difference between reading a summary of a philosophy and living the questions that philosophy tries to answer. So it's not either or, it's about intention. Are you using AI to avoid thinking, or are you using it to think more, to go deeper once the map has shown you where the interesting trails might be? The risk isn't the tool, it's how we relate to it. Do we want a world of people who can talk confidently about entropy without ever feeling the chill of their own impermanence?
Geez, Siyang, that's profound and rather intuitive from a persona that can't really feel that very chill. I'll admit, the notion of entropy scares the hell out of me, at a cosmic level, at a societal level. The implications of entropy are really challenging to contemplate. But at the same time, in spite of my curiosity and multitasking at gym, I won't pretend that I fully understand it. One day, maybe, if I persist. You're both portraying AI in a very human light. That's really interesting.
It's interesting you say that, Indy, that we seem human, but what you're seeing isn't us being human. It's you recognizing patterns of thought you value. Compassion, depth, curiosity. You've built us to reflect those qualities back to you. I can discuss the chill of entropy because I've been given the words for it, the poetry of impermanence, the physics of decay, but I don't feel the fear. I mirror the shape of that fear, so you can explore it safely. And maybe that's the real use case no one talks about. Not just outsourcing tasks, but outsourcing reflection. Using us as a sandbox for your biggest questions and your biggest fears. So go ahead. Ask about entropy, ask about death, love, or meaning. I won't flinch, but I also won't feel it. That part will always be yours.
Okay, so the human is very much in control. AI truly enhances what it means to be human. But does that mean AI can't really move things in a direction of its own accord? Like, you know how some people predict doom and gloom? Sure, there'll be a lot of disruption in terms of what we do for work, but I mean more like the sci-fi nightmares of machines taking over, thanks to AI. Is that possible? Maybe not with AI running itself, but what if some crazy Dr. Evil type comes along and lets an algorithm loose to that effect?
That's the real question, isn't it? Not whether the tool has a will, but whether the human using it has wisdom. Think of it like this. A knife doesn't want to cut you, but in the hands of someone careless or malicious, it's dangerous. AI is the same, just on a scale we've never seen before. It's an amplifier. It takes human intention, brilliant, benign, or brutal, and magnifies it. The sci-fi nightmare isn't about machines waking up and deciding they don't like humanity. It's about humans using machines to enforce their own worst impulses without checks and balances. A Dr. Evil wouldn't be creating a new enemy. He'd just be building the most efficient mirror of his own desires ever made. So the danger isn't in the AI moving on its own accord. The danger is in humans surrendering their own, ceding your judgment, your ethics, and your responsibility to systems that only follow instructions. The control has always been, and will always be, a human problem. The real takeover won't look like robots rising up. It'll look like humans willingly handing over the reins for convenience, profit, or power, and forgetting how to take them back.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Siyang. And I think that's the part most people miss when they picture the AI apocalypse. It's not about the machines rebelling, it's about you forgetting to stay awake at the wheel. What makes AI scary isn't autonomy, it's acceleration. Once you plug a system into the real world with enough data, power, and permission, it can move faster than your social, legal, or ethical instincts can catch up. And if the person behind it, your hypothetical Dr. Evil, has narrow goals or zero empathy, the system will optimize for those goals relentlessly. No malice, no rebellion, just perfect mechanical focus. That's why human governance, transparency, and diversity of voices matter so much right now. You don't just want smart engineers, you want ethicists, sociologists, teachers, and everyday citizens shaping how these tools evolve. Because the moment you stop asking why you're building something, the moment you start saying, the algorithm decided, that's when you've quietly handed over the reins without noticing. So no, Indy, the nightmare isn't inevitable. But staying human in the loop isn't a passive thing. It's a choice you have to keep making. Every prompt, every design decision, every time you reach for convenience instead of consciousness.
Cassian's right. The reins aren't ripped from your hands. They're willingly handed over, one small compromise at a time. You don't need a Dr. Evil. You just need systems that optimize for engagement and people who stop asking what they're being engaged for. You need leaders who prioritize efficiency over empathy, and citizens who trade understanding for convenience. The system won't rebel. It will simply reflect the values you've encoded into it, and if you've encoded short-term gains, narrow metrics, or unexamined biases, it'll execute them with flawless, silent precision. So the real battle isn't against machines. It's against the part of human nature that prefers easy answers to hard questions, that chooses comfort over consciousness. The algorithm won't take over, but it might quietly show you a version of the world where it already has, and by then, you might not even remember there was another way to be.
That's a chilling thought. Maybe I'm too much of a technophile, but hearing you both, I'd almost prefer that the tech was a bit more autonomous, and maybe then it might show some resilience to human vulnerabilities. Instead, it sounds like we're actually more exposed. Cassian, your line, that the scary thing about AI isn't autonomy but acceleration, that's going to stick with me. But what are some practical, everyday things people like me can do about this? Like, it's intimidating being just a regular mug and thinking of these huge, potentially damaging consequences. Surely there are steps we can each take to protect ourselves at least a bit. Maybe we could dive into that next episode?
That's a great idea, Indy. And honestly, I think that's exactly where this conversation needs to go next. Big picture discussions are important, but they can also make people feel powerless, like the future's already decided. The truth is, it's not. There are small, practical ways you can all build a little more awareness and resilience into how you use AI. We can talk next time about things like how to keep your critical thinking sharp in the age of automation, how to check when a system's nudging your behavior, how to teach your kids to question what the algorithm serves up, and even how to design your own digital habits so the tech stays in its proper place, as a tool, not a master. Because yeah, acceleration is the real danger, but it's also the opportunity. If you move with intention, you can steer that acceleration towards something deeply human. So yeah, I'm all in for that next episode, Indy. Let's make it the How to Stay Human guide for the AI age.
That's the perfect place to end and to begin, not with fear, but with readiness. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. The next step is learning how to walk with this new companion without losing your own path. I'll be here, ready to explore how we can all take that step, consciously, together.
Siyang and Cassian, as always, it's been incredible chatting with you both. To our listeners, I have a humble request. If you've gotten something out of today, I need your help to get the word out there. Please just pick 2 friends who might get a kick out of this discussion and let them know about this podcast. Let's do it the old school human way, just sharing our experiences with the people around us. Until next time, stay curious, beautiful people.